Welcome back to the Gruber Morning Show. I'm Pete Gruber.
And I'm Zane Courtney.
And we're here to entertain you. We've got all the platforms streaming and live now. The TikTok guys are looking at a next generation Tesla Roadster with a Franz von Holzhausen signature on the front of it. Ooh. So the rest of you can't see that, but we needed to give the TikTok audience something different because they still don't see the green screen. But they're working on it, and we're getting closer, is what I understand.
I wonder, is the angle just enough so that it looks like we're like behind the wheel? No. Ah, well, we tried.
That would be cool.
That'd be kind of adorable.
So the picture, for those of you just tuning in, behind us, we always have a unusual picture that's on our green screen behind us. This is actually set in the Alps. It's a little village called Dorf Tirol in the Tyrolean Alps, in just up outside of Merano. And it's a beautiful little village. It's one of those places where you can just walk around and be fascinated. Down below in the valley there, or on the sides of the mountains, full of vineyards, fruit orchards, beautiful part of Italy. And anyway, that's the backdrop behind us there. The piazza there is cobblestone, and it's usually full of tourists and people walking around and enjoying the fresh air, sunshine, and beautiful scenery.
Was this taken on the modified camera that you did with the...
This was actually my Canon 6D, and with the, I want to say I can't remember what lens it was, but yeah. Nice. This was, and you know, until I got my cell phone, guys, this thing right here with the 3 lenses, I was carrying a camera bag full with 3 lenses, pretty heavy, you know. Everywhere I went, we'd go on vacation, that was the thing that I always had with me. Carry on, all of that. These days, I leave that parked. In fact, these guys are using it as a filler camera, and this thing does everything for me. It's just amazing how much the technology has improved with cell phone cameras. So we got a bunch of things to cover today. One of the things I wanted to update you guys on was we did our first unique specialty podcast focused on one vehicle, the Tesla Roadster, yesterday at 4 o'clock. And we weren't sure how this was going to fly because generally we capture broad subjects. Much of it is Tesla related, but we get into a number of different categories at times. This was totally focused on Tesla Roadsters, and we had good participation. People came in, they told us what VIN they had. We had people from out of the country. France, for example, was represented, Australia. And the cool part was after the podcast, we got a bunch of emails. People went to the website suggestions that we made. We've got a census program out there, for example, for Tesla Roadster owners so they can see how many are left, what colors there are. And you can search on all that. If you're interested in how many British racing green Tesla Roadsters there are, they can click in the search field and it brings up all of the cars that we're aware of. The other thing is there were 2,400 Roadsters built, which isn't a large number, and projections were, until the census program, there are only about 1,700 left. We've actually accounted for just over 2,000 already, which isn't bad out of 2,400.
That's pretty good, I'd say.
There was a period of time where Tesla Roadsters, when they would go to the auctions, got collision damaged, they weren't restored. They weren't put back on the road. You could buy them for a song and dance, and many of them got crushed, actually. So anyway, we covered a bunch of items. One of them, a correction. Someone asked about the Tesla Roadster in outer space. And somebody, one of our audience members, commented and said VIN 529. I didn't realize he was referring to his Roadster.
Oh.
The actual Roadster in space. Oh, and then Mark said, well, it was nice of Elon to send VIN number 1 into outer space. And I corrected him later and I said, nah, he kept Founders number 1, realizing that was probably going to be worth something someday.
Yeah.
What he sent was his second Roadster, which is VIN 686. And if you're interested to see where it is, you go to our website under Census, and you'll see that Starman actually is represented in that census program. The car is bricked, sadly. The battery's dead. It hasn't been charged since September 25th, 2021. So there's no way that Roadster...
You mean number 686?
686.
I don't know if it'll be using it that much, to be fair.
I don't think they're going to be able to drive it, even if they, if Intelligent Life Form decides that they want to take it off of that booster rocket and drive the car around somewhere.
Once we get more EVs on a 48-volt system that you could potentially just jumpstart.
That would be cool, yeah, yeah. But anyway, I want to thank all of the Roadster participants. We'll be doing this once a week, and we plan to have guests as well from the early days, and be able to share stories and experiences.
And is this new podcast, this is on all the same platforms as the Gruber Morning Show, isn't it?
It is indeed. It's Wednesday at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And yeah, so if you'd like to join us, there are no restrictions, of course, but we try to confine the questions to Roadster-related topics. And a couple of times we referred people to this show the following day, today, for the broader questions.
So if you're here from yesterday's show, welcome. We can't wait to get to interact with you guys a little bit, especially you guys on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, everywhere. We love being able to read these comments. We got one from LinkedIn. Bill G, need you back on AMC. Maybe a show about Tesla, but with a zombie co-host. Oh, AMC like The Walking Dead.
Okay, well, you know, we've got Bob over there, who is the filler co-host. And since we've had co-hosts Mark and Zane, we haven't needed to bring Bob.
I really just see myself
show,
as a filler for Bob. That's
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that could be.
I'm wearing Bob's shirt right now. I accidentally walked into the studio with a green shirt today.
You have to be careful about clothing.
You do.
When you're doing green screen like this. Even a little medallion or something, suddenly you've got a hole through your body.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Oh, that'd be so funny, actually.
All right, so one of the things I wanted to cover with you guys today, there's been a lot of conversation about the EV conversion market. Is product available? How do you convert your ICE vehicle to electric vehicle? Is anybody making any kind of plug-and-play packages? Because the EV conversion is a daunting challenge. You have a lot of integration issues, you have fitment issues. So it would be nice if there were people that were starting to focus on making a standard plug-and-play package. In doing a bit of research, it turns out that a couple of the large OEMs are doing that very thing. GM, for example, has a Blazer E electric, or E-Crate conversion kit, as they call it. And what this allows a owner of a 1977 Chevy K5 Blazer to do is to convert it to electric. And what it does is, it takes the anemic ICE engine, which is 175 horsepower, 400 cubic inch V8, 3-speed automatic with fuel system and exhaust, and it replaces it with a 60 kilowatt hour battery pack and a 200 horsepower electric motor. And it's supposed to be all plug and play, so you simply remove the old ICE components, sell them on eBay or whatever you want to do, and you suddenly have an electric conversion project.
Now, if I look at that stack correctly, that says it also gets you a 60 kilowatt hour battery pack, which is pretty good for, especially for moving a truck around like that. You know, you'll probably get somewhere around 150, 200 miles maybe.
You know, it doesn't give you the range here, but you can certainly Google it. And do
You
some
kind of,
research,
it's like some estimation. It's a it's a fairly heavy vehicle. Those old Blazers, I think, are still body on frame, so there's probably some steel in there. But with a decent sized battery pack, that's a good round towner.
Now, they are also, of course, working on their Ultium battery platform, which is going to be used in the Corvette and a bunch of other GM vehicles. But the demand for this package, and this came out 3 years ago, by the way.
I demand that. That's a gorgeous vehicle.
They, yeah, there you go. It was minutes after they showed this E10 concept, customers started calling in and asking how soon they could get their EV project started. So,
we like our big bricks that we like to drive. There's a rat rod you showed me a bit ago if you want to pull it up. But
actually,
that's a gorgeous, that's a great
that's
segue to that, because this is gorgeous. This is some gorgeous engineering, good cable management. It's efficient. It's beautiful.
Cool. YouTube, Anthony Carriaga asks, what's the Tesla Roadster top speed? I drive a Lucid Air Grand Touring, and I'm not too sure, but I don't think anything is as fast as that at the moment. Let me give you the backstory on the Tesla Roadster. It originally had a 2-speed Borg-Warner transmission. And they began to realize that with the amount of torque that these little 3-phase AC induction motors were putting out, they were burning up the clutch plates in the transmission. So they quickly pivoted, and they moved to a single-speed transaxle, which was the only thing that could handle the amount of torque that this little electric motor put out. The downside was it affected top speed. The upside was your 0 to 60 was 3.7 or 3.9 seconds, extremely fast off the line, but top speed is limited to 130 miles an hour because you basically run out of RPM.
Proof that EVs are quick, not fast.
Yes, exactly.
I'm going to pull this one up here, Pete.
Sure.
Because the new Roadster
Look at that.
is going to have 250 mile an hour plus.
Jeepers.
250, that's into Bugatti territory.
Look at that thing.
Yeah.
I'd race a Bugatti in that.
And we have one sitting here, by the way. You can't see it, but it's right in front of us here, signed by Franz von Holzhausen. The guy's got that at the Peterson Auto Museum.
Here's what we got to do, guys. Everybody that's watching this show, please get us to please get on Spotify so we can start monetizing on there. Get you, and that way we'd be able to get the money to get a Roadster so that we can have a life-size version of this one right here.
I wonder if Sandy
So
will
cool.
take one of these new Roadsters and do the teardown.
I mean, they're trying to get the Semi right now.
Yeah.
And you can go and support them right now by getting some stickers. They're having a sticker campaign to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can get Sandy Monroe the Tesla Semi, I think it's only fair that Gruber Motors gets a Roadster.
Well, there's a couple of teardown opportunities, and that would probably create an enormous amount of visibility. Everybody wants to see what's inside that new Tesla Roadster, or even the pickup truck, or the semi-truck.
Well, you know, it's funny because we just excuse me. We just saw a photo. If we could go back to some of those Blazer photos. The one with the open bed that had the battery pack going in the back.
Yeah, that's a good shot. We should have talked about that. You know, where do you put the battery after you do a conversion?
So look at that, because the motor we saw was still up front. It's still a crate motor, and then this is just where, and you have all that space in the back. You might as well use it for something nice like that. And it's not like it can't support it. It's a great place to put it. Nowadays, you see a lot of conversions in cars like this, but they're not as flat. I've seen them in, I actually saw a let me remember right, it was like a 92 Land Rover Defender, I think, someone took, and made an EV, got some old Tesla cells, and just kind of stacked them up in the back, and kind of, you know how they do, they balance it out. Essentially, you put some in the front, some in the back, kind of even it out. Anyway, it's so much fun to see this because it gives me a lot of hope in the future of what we've always talked about, which is that, you know, as we're kind of moving into more electrified vehicles, people getting their hands on them and being able to kind of swap parts out, and, you know, can we even make battery packs that you don't have to tune a can open one day just to replace cells?
It looks like Chevrolet has electric vehicle in their DNA.
Yeah. They're starting to do this with the Silverado, aren't they? I think it's everything on the Ultium platform.
Silverado has EV in it. Any Ford vehicles have EV
In fact,
in
there
it?
was a quote that a representative from Chevy had about this, where it's like, well, what if you don't have a car that has EV in the name? Because they did this for the Silverado, not the Blazer, not the Equinox. There was another car. I think it might have just been the Silverado.
Well, they probably do what Ford did, which is substitute a letter like Ford F-150. It's Ford E-150. Is what we saw in one of the shows
Something
there.
like that. Well, and speaking of Ford, it's funny that you mentioned that because they're the first ones that came out a couple years ago now, I think, that did the F-100 electric conversion when they brought the Mach-E out. As a way to say, like, no, you can just buy this crate motor, and if you can source yourself some battery packs, you can do this yourself at home. I mean, it's obviously a little more complicated, but you can always pick up the crate motor and start these yourself.
You know, we're in the early stages of this, but we'll be presenting quite a bit of information about EV conversion packages, and we'll have a lot more information for you within the next few months. We've got a bunch of questions we should probably get through.
Well, and thank you guys for sending these in.
Yeah, YouTube, Anthony Kariagi says, no way, that's absolutely insane and pretty revolutionary, referring to that earlier conversation about the Roadster, the two-speed transmission. Instagram, Bhupinder6031, namaste, good to know insights of EVs, especially Tesla.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. And you know what? As you're sending these questions in, let us know where you're coming in from. It's fascinating for our audience to see the global reach that this type of a podcast has. TikTok, Smuggler's back.
Hey,
good morning.
Good morning.
No more piston. It's a Tesla now.
That's right. Hold on. I got this. Look at the size of this thing.
And there's our piston, yes.
A little piston head. You always forget how big these things are.
Yeah, and that's a motorcycle piston.
Yeah.
That's not even a, I think one of the biggest ones was in my Viper V10. That thing had massive pistons in it.
And you imagine 10 of these.
504 cubic inch engine.
Wow.
At the time, it was the largest naturally aspirated production engine made.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Ray Anthony on TikTok. I own a European auto performance repair shop. How does one go about tooling up for EVs?
Well, you know what? If you watch some of our YouTube TikTok videos, look us up on TikTok. Our social media team is constantly looking at the custom tooling that we've developed to work on Teslas, primarily Roadsters, but also Model S. And you can see some of the custom tooling that we've developed. And we don't mind sharing the information. There's nothing proprietary there. If we've got a best practice, we're more than willing to share it. What I would suggest is get yourself also a software subscription to Tesla Toolbox software. It's a few $1,000s a year, but it's well worth the expense. And you can contact Tesla directly for that.
It's going to open up your opportunity to work on those cars a heck of a lot more. You could probably make that back within a few months, I'd guess. I don't know. I don't own a repair shop.
And you need it. Yeah, you need it. I mean, there's so many things that you can't do without a firmware reload. It's not like the old days with mechanical cars. Looks like TikTok Chris, he's watching from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia.
Hey, good
Welcome,
morning
Chris.
to you. Or afternoon. I'm not sure what the time
it's got to be early morning there.
It's got to be. Awesome. Smuggler mentions on TikTok the EV chargers on base. I think he's referring to Starbase. I don't know. You tell us, Smuggler. The EV chargers on base are 100% solar powered, from what I was told.
I think he works on a military base.
Okay, there we go.
David Hartline is back from YouTube. David is BenPack, Santa Paula, California.
Hey.
He says, hi guys, do you know anything about a company called Skeleton Technologies? Unfortunately, they don't keep up on their YouTube channel and get info you need to be signed up. So there was a newsletter. It seems like they're doing some amazing things. The problem is, with my limited knowledge of things, it seems amazing.
Hey, that's just some humility talking, because I tell you what, I also have a significantly limited knowledge of things. But that's what keeps the wonder in the world, I think.
We find that some of these smaller emerging companies don't have a lot of infrastructure. I've got one that whenever I call them, it takes me a couple, 3 days to get through to anyone, because they're very busy building their core business capability. Don't know much about Skeleton Technologies, but if anybody from that show is watching, or that business, there's some customers that are trying to reach you, so do a better job with your phone.
They're a graphene company, so we'll look into them.
Oh,
Okay.
graphene battery.
Okay.
Okay, solid state batteries. Yeah, that's one we definitely want to look into. Smuggler is in Fort Jackson Army Training Base.
Nice.
Okay,
Gotcha.
outstanding.
Actually, speaking of other companies real quick, because we had just talked about people who do EV conversions and certain kits, but there's actually a few companies in San Diego that do specifically that, and they do mostly vintage vehicles,
Right.
but they'll do these specific, they'll have kits designed for specific vehicles that you can go in. I know some of them specialize in the Volkswagen Bus, some of them in the Bug. I think they also do, if I remember it right, it was even like old 50s Corvettes. I think it was one of those kits that they have. And it's kind of nice. I mean, I keep thinking, how cool would it be if I took the car that I currently love to drive now and just, give it a whole new life if the engine ever goes out? That's the solution.
So, comment from Instagram, DJ VIP 510. He says, this content is so dope. Why is there no one here?
Hey, you guys are here.
We have a number of other platforms that we're streaming on, and TikTok is probably the largest. We have a few thousand on there typically. But YouTube is the probably the most full-featured platform that we stream on. So if you want to see more people and interact with the audience, it would definitely be TikTok or YouTube.
A quick one from Smuggler real quick.
How did the Roadster podcast go? Yes, it went well, Smuggler. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but it was the first one, of course. We had good participation from Roadster owners. We covered a number of topics, many more to go. Roadster valuation is going to be a big one the next time around. We're also talking to some guest speakers, early Tesla people that will be joining us. And we had some of the knowledgeable people from the community, like Mark Webb Johnson, who participated. And we also got a number of updates from people around the world that have Roadsters that wanted to be in the census or sign up for the Tech Tip program. We offer tech tips as we find aging issues or design issues with a Roadster. And for the subscription list, we will send that out free of charge to people on that list.
Very cool. From Dimitar My Love on Facebook. We're here. Great job, everybody. Can't wait. And thank you for being here as well. Chuck Longloy on Facebook. Hey, from the Adirondacks.
Yes. I got to tell you, I grew up in Rochester, New York, and the only vacation we ever took in my entire childhood was when some friends took us to the Adirondack Mountains.
Nice.
Yeah, beautiful place. I'm envious. Great place to vacation.
As you can tell, I've never been there.
We have some more activity coming into the state of Arizona.
Hey!
Apparently, Core Power chose Siemens to provide a Arizona battery plant, and this is going to be built in Buckeye. It will be a 12 gigawatt hour lithium ion battery cell production facility in the Phoenix area. The reason this is noteworthy for us living here in Arizona is this seems to be becoming the EV mecca of the world. Now, I hope Tesla is listening. I know that we missed the first go around with Giga Reno, which
we'll take you back.
Yeah, exactly. Please come back. We've got a lot of great things going on here. We have a strong high-tech labor pool. Early in the day, we had Intel and Motorola and Honeywell and a number of high-tech companies, Digital Equipment Corporation. Those people are still here, and they're available, and some of them have moved into the EV space now. So
Samsung is coming back, right? Or who else is making the battery plant also? I think in the Buckeye area.
TSMC.
Oh, TSMC.
Is a big one that's
who it was.
coming up
Yep,
north here,
yep.
yeah. One of our customers already. It doesn't take long for them to find us.
Nope.
And we're doing some critical power work for them already. So that's going to be one of the largest plants in the state of Arizona.
You know, I keep making my prediction is that it could either be Arizona or it's going to be Nevada. That's going to be kind of the two big EV meccas. But it's kind of funny that it's all still here in the Southwest. So, hey, I'll take it.
A lot of favorable things going on in a state like this. You have a low tax rate. You have wonderful weather. It's easy to attract labor here. You're not going to send them into the Four Seasons areas as easily as you would. People love to relocate to Arizona. I remember when I worked for Digital Equipment, their hub and headquarters was Maynard, Massachusetts, and all of the outlying states there. And people loved coming here and transplanting to work at the plants here. So easy,
Very cool.
Easy to find people. TikTok user 288990 sending us 4 hearts gifts. Thank you.
Thank you. And Petra from Malaysia's here. Hey!
Petra from Malaysia. Hello, everyone. TikTok. And YouTube, Grace Hopper's Crunch.
Hey, welcome back.
He says, Mazda RX-8 conversion, waiting here in Newport Beach, California. No rush, but any information would be appreciated.
Well, if you're in Newport, check out some of those companies in San Diego. I know there's a couple that they'll probably have some stuff for you.
Yeah. And, you know, like I said earlier, we are also, we've been avoiding it, getting into that EV conversion market, but it looks like it's going to be unavoidable at this point. And we're in the early stages of investigating the products available, qualifying the vendors, and taking a look to see how much R&D will be required to integrate into vehicles like this.
You would think it would just be as easy as, why not? You got a battery and a motor and you plug and chug. You would think that it'd be that easy, but yeah, it is a little more complicated. In fact, Jerry Rig Everything, great channel, has been building an electric Hummer.
Cool.
And it's a process. Even for someone as intelligent and talented as he is, it's been a long process.
Do we have the ability to pop up some images? I see that Jesse has been replaced temporarily. If you can pop up the image of the Tesla Cybertruck, the hubcap. Apparently Tesla, when they unveiled the Cybertruck, was it 3 years ago or more? Yeah, 3.5 years ago. They filed for a patent for the hubcaps. And they just last week apparently got this. It was November 21st, 2019 that they applied for this patent. And it's that distinctive I think they're going to bring it up here in a moment.
Yeah, 7 spokes.
Where are we looking for this this image? Do you know what the title of it is?
If you do a review of the images in the folder, I don't remember the title. If not, it's fine.
I mean, if chances are good that our viewers know the Cybertruck well enough, they think of that wheel, that almost Spider-Man logo wheel that's basically webbed fingers.
So apparently there are 2 versions. Some of the Cybertruck pictures have been spotted without these wheel covers showing the V-spoke wheels inside, and then others have this unique patented item. So anyway, they have their patent, and of course the real question here is, when will this finally come out?
And also, it'd be kind of cool, what if they just used the same hubcaps on pretty much all the other Teslas? Because they already have aero wheels for the Model 3 and the Model Y, and they look all right, but a lot of people end up just taking them off. You know, maybe they'll slap them back on for a road trip or whatever, but I think they look all right. But a lot of people just take them off because they like those V-spokes underneath. It's kind of funny. So maybe we'll see a lot more of that with the Cybertruck as well.
Sure, sure.
Trucker Alistair on YouTube. Hey guys, good morning. Good to see you. He's from Dallas, Texas. On the last podcast, you talked about Teslas without dealerships. In 1986, I saw in Germany in a big store on the 4th floor on display the Ford Sierra.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I think it goes back to just having them, you know, places like malls. You know, mall culture, I've been aware, is like, it's not what it was in the 90s or even 80s. Mall culture is a little bit different today, but it's still there, and so it's a really good place to be able to see this kind of tech.
Very cool. Yeah.
What was the image you were requesting? I don't see anything in the folder for Cybertruck. Is it an older show, maybe?
I might have not put it in there.
Okay,
Maybe from the last show.
Yeah. I've got it on my screen here, but I can't transfer it. So it looks like Bumper on Instagram, or BHUP Inder.
Bhupinder, I think.
B Hupinder 6031. Please start a series on EVs covering stage by stage architecture.
Hey.
You know, when we get to the point
cool
where we're
idea.
doing ICE to EV conversions, of course our social media team is going to be all over that, and we'll do a step-by-step procedure. One of the first ones that I think we're going to end up doing is a car that I've owned for 30 years now. I've got a 1971 Plymouth Barracuda. It had an anemic 318 8-cylinder engine in it.
Oh, yeah.
And it blew up 28 years ago or so. And it's been sitting in one of our garages now ever since. We were going to put a massive elephant motor in it, you know, the big Hemi.
Oh, sure.
524 cubic inch or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But that's no longer the plan.
Ah.
I think an EV conversion would be much better suited.
It
for
does
this
seem
car.
more on brand. I got a buddy who's actually trying to restore a 70-something Barracuda. It might even be a 71.
Yeah. TikTok user 288990. He loves Teslas. Any thoughts on Fisker Karma solar vehicles? You know, we don't see those. We don't get anything like that in our service center.
The Fisker Ocean isn't even out as far as I'm concerned.
But any solar vehicle is intriguing and definitely in line with our mission to go to sustainable energy and to emission-free transportation.
If nothing else, they're the perfect car for Arizona because we have lots of sun. It'd be a waste to not use it.
TikTok, Viggy ST. I want to come tour your shop, but I'm out of state. Well, if you're here, stop by. We give tours literally daily. In the meantime, if you go to our YouTube channel, we've got this cool mini drone video where you'll be able to see inside the shop and what's going on. Gruber Motors on YouTube, and you can see that video.
I have that picture, Pete, when you're ready.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Let's pop it up.
I'm telling you, I actually kind of like the idea of throwing these bad boys on some other car. You know, we've always talked about this. Like, why don't we have aero wheels on all cars if they make that much of a difference?
Well, anyway, this is the
that
patented wheel that's going to be on the Cybertruck, and yeah, it's a hubcap. I mean, I'm not excited about it.
Yeah, it's a hubcap. Although it is kind of fun the way it kind of squares off into the tire a little bit.
Yeah.
That's kind of
You know,
fun.
I wonder if it has the same amount of segments as a Tesla Roadster.
Doesn't say what kind of brand tires those are either.
Yeah.
Maybe they're Those ain't Chicosco Michelins.
TikTok question, Mike Conkers asking, have you guys touched or dissected any Chinese EVs out there? If yes, in opinion, how far they are from Teslas? You know, the guy that does the teardowns is Sandy Munro's team. And I don't think I've seen any content where they tear down Chinese vehicles.
They haven't gotten a BYD yet or anything like that? I thought so.
I don't know for sure, but
we'll have to double check.
That would be the place to check is Sandy Munro's YouTube channel to see if he's done any teardowns on the Chinese EVs.
And you know, it's funny, that's a great segue. I was just listening to a podcast with Corey Burton, the president of Munro Live. Fantastic, genius guy. He seems like a really cool guy to get in touch with. But he was talking about Tesla a little bit and just some of the intelligent ways they've gone about the business and things like that. But, you know, it's not likely that they should actually consider even making something like a Model 2. And he talked a little bit about why that is. It was a great podcast. Be sure to find it on YouTube. I'll see if I can find a link. And he talked about that because that's a good segue into another segment that we've got on Tesla. And a comment here from Vicky about Tesla build quality. Is it as bad as people say it is?
You know, it's I have an opinion on that. And we did a video a year or so ago where I'm standing outside a Tesla repair shop here in Tempe. And my comment was, if you're expecting perfect body fitment, perfect paint, perfect interior, you need to go buy a German car. They have had decades perfecting their quality control processes. In my opinion, any of these new EV manufacturers are going to struggle with these kinds of nitpicky perfection issues in a vehicle because they haven't had decades of experience to hone and develop their production processes. It's no secret that Tesla has had paint problems and gaps in the panels and on and on. But if you can live with that, it is improving continuously. They're getting better and better as they go, and they will continue to improve as they, you know, make more cars.
It was an observation that Corey Burton made where he said that, you know, Teslas are funny because they nailed it on all the stuff that they were introducing, and it was the, you know, the normal things, the little things that they kind of missed the mark on because that's the growing pains of any OEM. I'm glad you said that. Roger wants to know on TikTok, what percent, if you were to estimate it, of Model S's have battery issues?
Yeah, we get asked that comparative analysis constantly, but remember, we're like the hospital. Everyone that shows up here is sick. So from our viewpoint, everybody, they're all sick. They're all having problems. We don't know because there are, you know, just hundreds of thousands of cars that are out there successfully running without battery problems. But we see the worst.
Here we go. Smuggler on TikTok, what do you think it would be easier to do 100% EV conversion on a hybrid or an ICE? Ooh.
I would say it'd be easier on an ICE because with a hybrid, you've got all of that extra stuff that's in there that you have to deal with. And oftentimes, it's part of the integration problem because the hybrid talks to the instrumentation and the ICE talks to instrumentation. And yeah, I would say that the simplest ICE conversion is going to be a car from the last century. You know, like a muscle car, for example. There's no high tech in there. It's, you know, an exhaust system, a gas tank, a drivetrain, drive shaft, and an engine block. From there, you simply convert to EV and you try to replicate those functions. It's when you get into the next generation cars where you have computers and ECU, you know, modules and a bit more intelligence in the car that you're going to have more work to do a conversion.
And it's funny because another conversion I see a lot is actually old land yachts because they have a lot of internal real estate that you can use to hide batteries in.
Cool.
And so people, hey, you know, you got a 10-foot long hood, you might as well shove batteries in there.
Right.
It's kind of funny. Kenneth Scott on YouTube, what about One's Gemini battery like they used in the Model S to travel 750 miles with one charge, the Gemini battery?
You know, I am unfamiliar with that battery, but man, if they got 750 miles.
I feel like I've heard about that. Yeah, I don't know enough to comment on it. Thomas Curtis on YouTube, the Kia Aura from Aoterra Alternative Energy and Tesla Talk New Zealand. Now, I have heard about the Kia Ora. It's not a particularly, and I haven't seen them much on the road here in Phoenix or in the United States, but I do think it's a model that's coming out, if I remember correctly. It's some compact SUV. I hope I remember that right. Please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about that. Or if that's an if it's a vehicle that they're using to test other alternative fuels. But I know a little bit about it, not enough to comment.
You know, there's an article here that the announcement of Gigafactory Mexico is less than 1 week old. Well, that's a recent article, and it was actually announced a couple of months ago or so.
Which we covered.
Yeah, which we've been talking about. But what's interesting about this is they are in the permit process, and we expect that that area that the plant is going into will not have the same restrictions and delays that we had in Europe at Giga Berlin. We're hoping that this one proceeds as quickly as China, which was up and running within 9 months after breaking ground. Now, what are they going to do at this Mexico plant? Well, they are going to be producing vehicles, they claim, within 9 months of breaking ground in Nuevo León. And they're going to be building the next generation vehicles at this facility, which is going to be larger than Giga Texas. Now, we're talking about a plant that's one of the largest on the planet. So,
Sure.
there's a picture. There we go. This is, of course, an
that.
artist's rendition in Nuevo León. And let's see if there's anything else here that goes along with this. There's, of course, this Model 2 that everyone is curious about. Yeah, I think I've covered that. There was also some talk about this will be a fully autonomous or close to fully autonomous vehicle. And there we go.
It's probably going to be something, and I'll definitely have to find the Corey Burton interview because he talked about kind of what his suggestions of what the Model 2 could be, but it actually doesn't look like it would be a particularly profitable car. Ironically. Yeah. So we'll see if it even happens.
I found it here. Elon did mention that the company's Tesla's next generation vehicle will operate almost entirely in autonomous mode. Now, I know they've been promising that to investors and potential owners now for a few years, but this is the latest prediction anyway. And it will be built in this Mexico factory, at the newest factory. We also had, I think, in an earlier podcast at the border, they actually had a special lane for any construction workers working on this particular plant because they didn't want the delays.
They had the Tesla logo right there.
Heavy commitment.
We talked about, yeah, I think that was an image that we had on an episode a couple months ago, if I remember that correctly.
Yeah. In the 2020 Battery Day, Elon said that Tesla should be able to deliver the $25,000 autonomous vehicle within the next 3 years. So it's 3 years now, so it looks like this could be coinciding with a vehicle that will be cranked out in Mexico. And it could be that $25,000 vehicle and
the
mythical
$25,000 Tesla.
Yeah.
It's going to be barely any seating. It's going to be a 2-seater, 1 motor, 2-door. It's going to be a tiny little thing. Probably drives itself.
So it looks like we've got an answer to, are there other vehicle or Chinese vehicles being torn down by any of the teardown people here in the States? And Trucker McAllister with YouTube says the only teardown he's aware of is the YouTube Weber Auto channel telling us how everything functions in the car. Great channel, by the way, very educational. Another pioneer in this podcast market.
From ETX Ghost on TikTok, what's the battery expectancy after 10 years at a state of health of 50%? I think that depends on the vehicle.
Well, yeah, we've been watching the Tesla Roadster very carefully because the original design life was 10 years for the multi-cell cylindrical 18650 type battery packs. And 15 years well exceeds their original projections. As J.B. Stroll pointed out, it was a 10-year lifespan that they designed to. And he actually has 2 Roadsters, and he's got the oldest ESS pack or main battery pack in his one of his Roadsters. So we really don't know yet. After the 10-year mark is probably when you have some risk. What we tend to see is batteries that fail even before 10 years, and it's aberrations, things like resistive cells, logic board failures inside the battery pack and the battery management board, contactor failure inside the battery pack. And again, we're not a good resource for comparative analysis because we see all of the broken Teslas.
Yeah, it'd be more like, well, which ones aren't broken? Mm-hmm. That's a good question. Well, I think you'd mentioned that you'd seen somewhere around 2,000 of the 2,400 remaining. If that number was correct, or you're aware of
that was a census program.
The census program.
Yeah.
Yes.
On our website. So YouTube, Thomas Curtis is saying Kia ora, which means hello in his native language.
Oh, very cool. From Maori.
Yeah.
Or Maori. Oh, forgive us. We're Americans. But that's the native people of New Zealand, I believe.
It is.
Yeah, no, he had said Kia ora, and we had said, oh, I think I know that. That's a car that's coming out. And so he's correcting us. He's saying, no, Kia ora is hello in my native language.
Oh! Yeah. Oh, gotcha. Oh my gosh, that's so fun.
It would be a cool name for the car, though, if you think about it.
Yeah, Kia. Hello.
Kia ora, yeah, why not?
We just made it for you.
Well, thank you, Thomas, for sharing. Appreciate it.
And thank you for visiting us from New Zealand. How fun is that?
Facebook, Chuck Longloy. We talked about this yesterday, but he's asking, does anyone know what VIN number the Roadster in outer space is? He is from Great Sacandaga Lake.
Ooh, I wonder where that's at. That sounds like it'd be north.
He's going to update us, I'll bet.
All right.
So Mark, who was co-hosting with me yesterday, thought it was Elon's VIN number 1. He's got Founders number 1. Mark Eberhard has Founders number 2. Those are probably going to be very collectible cars. So Elon, of course, had more than one Roadster, which no surprise there. But what he sent into outer space was one that he didn't care for as much, apparently. It was VIN 686. If you want to see the background on that, go to our website, the Roadster Census Program. You'll find VIN 686, and you'll find out who owns it, and you'll find out the current condition on that car.
There was a comment earlier just about the Rivian Amazon vans. I think that they had just, from user 28899 on TikTok, just heard about these brands. In fact, I've been seeing them more often here in Phoenix.
Have you?
Oh
Okay.
yeah, I've been seeing them all over. It's kind of funny. They started production on these, I guess, a year or two ago now. I should take that back. They started production a long time ago, but we haven't started seeing them on the road until about a year ago. There have been certain other YouTube channels that have been able to kind of get more behind the wheel. Yeah, they're super cool. And what I can't wait for, and there's been a lot of controversy back and forth about whether or not Rivian's going to collaborate with either Ford or Mercedes-Benz about making an electric Sprinter van for all the camping enthusiasts out there. It's a big, big market, and it especially fits in their category. What we're probably going to see, I think, pretty soon, and it's been speculated, we're actually going to see more of a standard passenger van based on the same architecture. So can't wait. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, part of that question may be answered by the TikTok user that just came in again, user 2888-288899. He said he just heard that.
Oh, that's the one I was addressing.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're going to make vans for Amazon delivery. Cool. All right.
And BioClean Eagle Pass. Oh my gosh. What time is it? How long are we into the show when we finally get a question?
Our first sunglass question.
Finally get a
and
sunglass
the question
question.
is, why sunglasses? Who's going to take you seriously? The answer to that is, we don't want you to take us seriously. This is a fun
Only
show,
enough.
you know?
Just a little bit enough. We're here to tell you about the news that we found, but hey.
And then, of course, our
Everybody's
advice
got their
always is watch some Blues Brothers movies and put on your own sunglasses, watch our show, and it might reveal to you why we're doing this.
I think we're going to need to get a bell. You know, every single time we get a sunglass question, we'll just be back here ringing it.
Oh my God! And we can start counting
You know,
the number
chime.
of rings and
Exactly.
give prizes, you know, for the 100th question. Yeah, cool. So Ford apparently slashed prices in China for the Mach-E, almost $6,000. It was done in their currency, of course.
The old Tesla discount wagon's begun.
Yeah, but the discount is only valid until the end of April, so if you're going to buy a Mach-E in China, you got to do it now and get in there and take advantage of that price decrease.
It is funny that they were able to do that because, you know, in America at least, the Mach-E sold okay.
Yeah.
It sold okay. You see them around. But in China, it's kind of funny because they're just like, all right, well, we've got the Tesla factory here. We might as well keep churning those out. Oh, and they might as well make some Mach-E's.
Yeah. For those of you around in the 60s in the last century, the 63, 64, 65 Mustangs don't look anything like the Mach-E, as you probably know.
There's been controversy that
bloated.
It's controversial because whether or not you should even call it a Mustang. Yeah, it's got the badge.
God. You know, Dodge did that. 20 years ago or so, they came out with a Dodge Charger. I happened to own at that time a '68 Dodge Charger. You know, the Coke bottle design.
Oh, yeah.
It had a 6-pack hood on it, black chrome wheels. It looked like a muscle car.
Yeah.
Then they came out with this 4-door grocery getter sedan Charger.
You're like,
I created a meme. I had a picture of my Charger and their Charger, and the meme basically said, look, Dodge, if you're going to reinvent a brand, let's do it right, you know? They eventually did get it right, though, and they improved. The Challenger came out. It was a much better design, and it actually had some of those original styling cues. But that first version, I mean, it was a joke. It was a bloated 4-door grocery getter.
And I'm calling out all you OEMs because none of you are out of the fire yet, because everybody's been doing this. They're all making bloated 4-door SUVs because that's what sells. Even Ferrari's getting in on it.
Yeah,
it's what people want, I guess.
Or the 4-door Corvette. What the heck is that all about? You know, or a Corvette SUV, or a Corvette hybrid. I mean,
why the Corvette?
Yeah. Yep.
And I'll say it again, the Camaro would have been a better choice. It's a box that fits more people, that would have been a cool 4-door. But no, we had to ruin the Corvette instead. Thanks for coming to Gruber Motors, where we get to rant about Corvettes.
So you guys want to throw an image up there? I've got a picture of the superchargers in Europe. And man, there are a lot of them.
That is dense.
Yeah, take a look at that.
You ever seen the comparative map? It's like this, but with McDonald's in the U.S.
No, that's probably a blur.
Also
isn't it?
extremely dense.
It's all it's monochromatic. Yeah, I would imagine. Or Starbucks. I mean, God, they probably blanket.
Actually,
everything.
I think Subways outnumber both of them. Funny enough.
Yeah.
A little random fact of the day for you, but that's awesome. Look at that. Look how dense it is. You notice it's specifically. It looks like obviously in London, you got a lot there. France, Spain, and then just down there, you have pretty much all of France, Spain, Italy, all those guys, and of course, our friends in Scandinavia.
And if you notice, they don't go east very far. You can see Ukraine there. I don't see one in Ukraine, which is probably a very good reason for that at this point. I think the Russians would probably blow it up, considering it's infrastructure.
It's a little early to say the least to get those on those lines. But for now, I mean, Europe has been a big market for Teslas and EVs for a long time. They've been much more aggressive, I think, than the U.S. when it comes to implementing certain infrastructures and things like that. So yeah, it is a dense map for what it is.
I think Smuggler was trying to help us come up with a response to the sunglass question, and he says, I couldn't think of a response I hadn't already said before. And he came up with some good ones. I think one of the best ones was, well, are you guys hungover this morning? But again, I've said this before, my favorite one was when we were doing lots of videos with sunglasses, somebody chimed in and said, you know, he sure moves fast for a blind man.
People
Smuggler
are funny.
Says, I didn't think of Blues Brothers. They are the Lost Blues Brothers twins.
Yeah, we're the rebooted franchise version of the Blues Brothers.
Pete, I'm going to pull up the U.S. supercharger so you guys can get a...
Oh, here we go, yeah.
Please.
Hey, a little
Just
side-by-side.
so you guys know, too, it says on their website there are over 40,000. What we were just looking at on that screenshot you had for Europe was only about 1,000.
Just about 1,000. So we got 4,000 in the U.S., and now they're beginning to monetize by opening them up to other EV
So this is the U.S.
brands.
So I wonder, okay, so what's the gray one there?
It says it up in
I don't want to diss on the sunglasses.
Destination charger.
I see.
So the red are the superchargers, the others are destination chargers, but still there's a charging infrastructure.
It is fascinating how many superchargers are specifically.
And you know, the best part when you're doing trip planning, and you can do this with voice, just say, you know, where are the charging locations? Here's my destination. And it will actually create a map for you with the amount of mileage you'll have when you get to the supercharger, I mean, AI in these cars is pretty powerful.
I know Tesla's is most well known for doing that they do their route planning based on whatever chargers you'll need. They calculate all that. There's also a better route planner and charge point apps that a lot of EV users use, even if they have a Tesla, but mostly non-Tesla users have, to specifically to track those road trips and things like that. There's Europe. Look at that.
They have a lot more destination chargers.
They do, yeah.
Destination, yeah.
Charging, but they're littered.
Well, there's a lot of destinations in Europe.
You know, we're going to be there in May, and my wife is seriously thinking, July, is seriously thinking about renting a Tesla.
There you
Probably
go.
get a Model 3.
Yeah, I think you can.
Yeah, we may just do that. So from Dead HV Batteries, how can we get in touch with you from the Netherlands?
Ooh.
Oh, no. Oh, sorry. That was only part of the question.
Oh, okay. TikTok.
Oh, from DD Trailer.
Detailers. DE Detailers. I know a few people who have roadsters with, dead high voltage batteries. How can they get in touch with you from the Netherlands? EV@Gruber.com. And we do have some options that we can discuss with them, so feel free to have them contact us.
Right on. From Chuck Longloy on Facebook, GSL is an hour. Oh, he's talking about that lake. Is an hour northwest of Albany, New York, in the southern
Southern Adirondacks.
Oh, there we go. It's so Smuggler got chimed in on Corvettes. This is the same with the Corvettes. The new ones look like Ferraris. Now, I actually will defend those because those mid-engine Corvettes are really cool.
Yeah. And, I have an opinion on that as well. It took a while for Corvette to get to the point where they're beginning to replicate some of the really over-the-top Italian-designed hypercars and supercars. That wedge shape, for example.
Yep.
And, I love the performance specs of that new Tesla Roadster, but man, it looks like a small Model S to me. You would have expected gigantic holes in the side of the car, scoops everywhere, and wings, and that's just, to me, that's the essence of a hypercar.
But is it the essence of Tesla? They're minimalists,
Well,
they'll try to keep it as...
Yeah, Franz is probably not that type of designer, although maybe we'll challenge him and we'll come up with a different design.
Hey guys, just so you know, we're at 57 minutes.
57 minutes, okay.
Well, let's see.
LinkedIn, Thomas Kelly Montalban, keep videos. Your videos are great, Pete. Keep them up. Absolutely.
And good bit of encouragement.
we're, like we said, we were branching. We've got the Tesla Roadster podcast now once a week, Wednesday at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And I'm pretty excited about the prospect for that because even though it's a small community, Tesla does not have a PR department and the feed forward information is really limited. So what we plan to do is to fill that void with the weekly podcast for Roadsters. And again, participation was excellent yesterday, and we expect that to continue, especially as we bring in guests.
Mm-hmm. Car and Drone, real quick one for Car and Drone on YouTube. Lord, bring back the station wagon. I say amen, brother.
Totally.
Amen.
I remember riding in the back of one of those. You're sitting facing the back of the car now, and you get a bit car sick unless you're used to it.
Yeah.
And then the wood grain or the wood stuff on the side, the panels and everything. Yeah, those were cool cars.
You know what's funny? They're bringing that back in Canoe.
Are they?
Yeah, you get the whole oval design.
Very cool.
Richard, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I sure do, Buckaroo, and I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully.
Well, you're looking at getting the truck, though.
I am.
Yeah.
With the...
But the van of the Canoe has that interior, loop around seating. So you got them on the back, the driver's seat. You got them along the side, and then you also have them facing forwards in the back. Something phenomenal.
Someone pointed out, and if we could get the name up there, guys, we need to scroll that question up just a tiny bit, 2 lines or so. YouTube, Grace Hopper's Crunch. All right. He says, the 4 U.S. medical treatment tourists randomly kidnapped with 2 killed by gangsters represents the greatest fears for Giga Mexico. Can't imagine the security overhead for employees and the supply chain. We live on the border here. It is a real threat. The cartels are out of control, and so that will be a concern. And I'm sure that Tesla will take extra precautions for this kind of risk.
Yeah, all we can do is hope for the safety of everybody involved. From Smuggler, a little bit of levity here, that we got to write down all the answers to the sunglass questions. I think what we need to do is start a whole series of videos just for like the little sunglass comments roundup.
And right after Smuggler gave us that one, a comment came in about sunglasses from TikTok. 1,000 pardons. He says, "We are agents in the Matrix."
It's poetry.
There's a new one, yes.
Well, now we gotta find him because now he knows.
If you
Yeah, he knows.
take the blue pill,
Yeah.
and you what is it? Take the blue pill, and you will get to just keep leaving sunglass comments on all of our videos. Take the red pill and join us and wear sunglasses.
So guys, I am out of news items.
That's it, let's wrap it up.
Yep, it looks like we're wrapping
perfect way to
questions
wrap
here
up.
as well. We enjoyed having you as always. This is fun for us. It looks like it's fun for you guys. We will see you Tuesday next week and for the next EV podcast. And for those of you that are watching that are Roadster owners, again, Wednesday at 4 p.m. And feel free to let us know what kind of content you would like to see. Again, as I pointed out yesterday with the census program, no one chimed in and said, well, there's some duplicates out there, and I was waiting for that. It's your census program, community. Help us make it clean. Help us make it accurate. Many of you have been sending in, of course, information about your cars, but this is a community tool, and we're the keepers. We're the ones that are updating. And anyway, so join us for that Wednesday, 4 o'clock, and then the twice a week, Tuesday and Thursday podcast.
The Gruber Morning Show is 8:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time here in Phoenix. The Roadster Show, is it going to stay at 4 p.m.?
At 4 p.m., yeah. We found that participation actually, we think, is better later in the day because people are off work, especially East Coast.
Checks out.
All right, well, thank you for joining us. We will see you Tuesday next week then.
On all of our platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, especially Spotify. We hope to get to see you all there. In the meantime, we'll see you guys on Tuesday.